This is in the District Court of Butler County, Kansas, case entitled State of Kansas versus Medwin Odell Vialas Alvarez. It's case number 2022 CR 364. Amber Norris appears for the state of Kansas. Joseph Favre is defense counsel of record. The defendant, Mr. Alvarez, is appearing by separate Zoom. Mr. Alvarez, I asked you to pull over. I don't want to see you in a moving car.
We're parking right now. We're on the highway. We're off the highway and stuff. Now we just park now. Not moving no more.
This matter was originally scheduled to be a sentencing proceeding. Court notes that the original setting in the case following plea was on July the 3rd. At that time, the docket notes indicate that the pre-sentence report was not complete due to the defendant being in custody in Logan County, Oklahoma. Assessment still needed to be completed. Sentencing was reset to today's date at 4 o'clock. Defendant asked to modify bond to work out of state. The request was denied at that time, and the defendant was ordered by the court to appear at the Sally Port. Further, Mr. Vialas Alvarez, I believe someone communicated with my assistant yesterday, and I heard her on the phone. She was crystal clear in telling whoever called on your behalf that you were to appear at the Sally Port, which means at the Judicial Center in El Dorado, Kansas. I didn't approve you appearing by Zoom from a moving car or any other location. So why aren't you there?
I was on my way, but I have a problem with my car. My car, like, when I went to put gas, I leave 3.5 hours away. I was leaving 5 hours before that, like 2 hours priority. And the car, like, when I was filling out my tank, the car, I had something with the injector, so it wasn't turning on. Finally, after
slow down a little bit. Slow down.
I haven't cars with my vehicle have problems, the injectors, I don't know, it wasn't turning it on. When I went to get gas, it was turning on, but it's turning back off. And then on the way, so it did that, it just stopped, turned off, and then it wanted to turn on, so I have to wait for a little bit, and then I'm trying to turn it on and turn back on, so I'm having problems with my vehicle. But I do know that I was supposed to be showing up there in person. I did call yesterday, trying to get on Zoom video call, and they told me no, that you wanted me to be there in person. So that's what I was on my, that's what I was gonna do. I was on my way there, but I have issues with my transportation.
Padre, you conferred with your client today?
Judge, Mr. Alvarez did call me about 4 or 5 hours ago, something to that effect. And I instructed him he was to appear at the Sally Port. He knew that. He said he was coming from a great distance away. I think he said Ulysses. I think he lives in Liberal. And so I told him to get moving, and he said he was. So.
Well, but he's not in El Dorado, so.
Yeah, I understand, Judge. He did call me and say that based on his car acting up, he was going to likely be a little bit late, and I told him still to get there as quickly as he could lawfully. And so he called me at 4. Hold on, Medwin. He called me at 4:02, which is why I was late. And I said, okay, well, I'm going to give you the Zoom link so you can explain it to Judge. He told me he was half an hour away at that time. So.
All right. He just needs to hold still for a moment. I'm going to address Mr. Russell now. It's my understanding you're appearing on behalf of Ms. Wheeler with your department, correct?
That is correct, Your Honor.
Okay. Why isn't the pre-sentence report done? Can you summarize for us?
Yes, Ms. Wheeler advised me that he was he was scheduled to do a SASE drug and alcohol evaluation today or this morning at 8 o'clock. And she was advised that he was 40 minutes late to that appointment. So they didn't have time to do it. So they rescheduled it for September 5th at 8 a.m.
Where was he supposed to appear at this morning? Wouldn't he appear at our local community corrections office for that?
Normally, that would be the case. I would probably like to ask ISO Stanfield if he has any record of that, since community corrections sets those up.
All right. Ms. Stanfield is the representative from community corrections. What can you tell me?
If you give me a moment to go get his file from Mr. Ketley, I can tell you where that was scheduled at.
Thank you. Would you please go do that? So I get the impression, Mr. Russell, that because he was 40 minutes late, they didn't go ahead and do the SASE today.
Yeah,
Correct?
they did not.
And rescheduled it to the September date you mentioned.
That is correct. They were unable to do it, and it has been rescheduled for September 5th. And I was gonna see if this is the case. It looks like it's Cimarron Basin Community Corrections. There is an entry here. Her name is LaDonna Kraft. She is an addiction counselor, and it says it's with Cimarron. It's CIMARRON Basin Community Corrections.
Thank you, Mr. Russell. Ms. Stanfield, have you returned with the file?
Yes, and that is correct. He was scheduled to meet with a lady named LaDonna Kraft at Cimarron Basin Community Corrections Office. She's an addiction counselor, but she goes to the Community Corrections Office to do the assessments. And that's in Liberal, Kansas.
And he showed up late, so she had to reschedule it.
Yes, that's correct.
The same issue.
All right. I think Ms. Wheeler's earlier communication at least suggested to this court that it was just simply a question of scheduling that was going to lead to the delay of the sentencing today, and not necessarily, at least until today, any default by the defendant. Is that your understanding, Mr. Russell?
From my understanding is he showed up 40 minutes late.
Well, I understand, but the fact that the SASE is being done the day of the sentencing means that there was obviously a delay in scheduling it to start with. Now, he was in custody in Oklahoma when we were here last. He apparently got out.
That is correct, Your Honor. You are correct.
So apparently they just couldn't get him scheduled for the SASE in a timely fashion to be able to complete the report for today's sentencing. Is that consistent with your understanding?
Yes, Your Honor.
And Your Honor, he actually was here on July 3rd when we were supposed to do sentencing the last time. And basically we were rescheduling at that time because he had been in custody, but I believe was out at that point. He got out and contacted her on June 27th. There is a case report from the previous, which may give the court the background that you may be needing about why it is that we basically are scheduled for sentencing, this being the second time.
So I don't quite understand if he had been released from custody, why it took so long to get the SASE scheduled.
Excuse me. I went back to custody because when I went to my probation to check in until I got released, I have a warrant from my person for one of the bonds that was scheduled for me to go to court, but I was in custody in Oklahoma. So I went to jail for another 9 days on July 5th on my person. So when I went to check in on my probation on Wichita, I have a warrant. So she told me, like, just arrest me. She told me, come back when you get out and we'll start your probation and stuff. So I went to jail for my person for 9 days. For the warrant that I have for the court date that I couldn't go because I was in custody in Oklahoma.
So I think part of it was that issue, and Judge also that just he lives in Liberal, and I think it took a while to get that resource set up. That's all.
But what the court's contemplating here is just simply holding him in our jail until sentencing. Then I'm quite confident that he will be available to the evaluator. If they make an appointment with him at the jail, I'm sure it'll be kept. and I know that I can get this pre-sentence report completed. I am insecure that doing it any other way is simply not going to work. You show up late for your appointments. If at least this morning you kept your SASE appointment and that part had been completed, I might be more lenient here. But Mr. Vilas-Alvarez, you don't seem to do anything that you're supposed to do. You should be at the Sally Port right now because you were specifically ordered to be there, and we set this hearing very late in the day to give you travel time to get there.
I understand. This is what happened. The car stopped working today. That's what I got late. It's not that I don't want to show up. That's what I got late to my evaluation this morning. And now too, the car's been it worked for a little bit and then stopped working. Like it just been today. It was fine yesterday. If I would have been yesterday, I would have no problem. It's just been today that I have a problem with the car.
You know, it's just really strange. More people have car trouble on their way to a courthouse than any other destination that they ever have to go to. It's just amazing how that works. Does the state take a position here, Ms. Norris?
Your Honor, I just would note that this is the second time that we've had to move the sentencing since the plea back in May. I would express frustration with the fact that we are not ready to proceed today. And again, that's based on either defendant's in custody status or his car trouble or the like. So I will leave it to court's discretion, but I really feel like we should be, done with sentencing at this point since he pled back in May.
I would agree with that assessment, Ms. Norris. Ms. Stanfield, how long will it take to complete? Well, I don't know, you can't say with certainty, but what would your estimate be? How long it will take to actually complete the SASE assessment document and have that disseminated to the Court Services Office if that appointment is kept in September?
Usually one of our local counselors can go out to the jail. If you're talking about going out to the jail.
No, I'm talking about if I allow him to keep his appointment in September.
Well, if he's going to do his assessment in Liberal, I'm not sure how soon that counselor could get to him, since I don't work with them out there. But I do know, I was looking at the chronos, and it looks like Mr. Ketley had talked to him back on July 13th. So it looks like it was about a month wait for his appointment. So I would say,
Teresa, they scheduled him a new appointment. He has an appointment September 5th at 8 a.m. for the appointment to do the SASE.
Oh, okay. No, she should have it to us then after September 5th within a week.
And then estimate, Mr. Russell, as to how long it would take to complete the pre-sentence report after that?
I would say she could probably get that to you within a week upon once she receives it, probably a week after.
And the risk needs assessment is done?
It is completed, Your Honor.
Barbara, anything you want to say?
Judge, we'd ask the court to consider allowing him to keep that appointment. Obviously, this is not the way things should be going. I agree with Ms. Norris on that. It's not 100% Mr. Vilas-Alvarez's fault. So we'd ask him to, some of it is, of course, but not 100% his. So we'd ask the court to consider allowing him to keep that appointment in Liberal.
Okay, where else is the fault? Mr. Fowler?
Well, just in the fact that even had he not had car problems today and had made his appointment this morning, he wouldn't have been ready for sentencing today anyway, because he couldn't get scheduled, because that's the soonest that Liberal could get him in. So it's not 100% his fault that we're not ready today. It is his fault for missing his appointment this morning, and of course, being late today. That's partly his car problem, but.
Ultimately, to a certain extent, I have to agree with Mr. Favre's assessment. if indeed his SASE appointment wasn't until August 16th, we weren't going to be able to complete the report prior to today's sentencing. His failure to appear on time this morning, I think, creates further delay than there otherwise needed to be. Nevertheless, it was probably going to be necessary to reschedule the sentencing regardless. I'm not very happy with you, Mr. Violas Alvarez. I don't think that you've done what you're supposed to do when you're out on bond. After you're a convicted felon, the court can take action on a bond that probably wouldn't be appropriate prior to conviction, but you don't seem to appreciate being loose in the community at all. And every time that business needs to get done with your case, you seem to have problems with some other warrant or some other court. So I wonder just how many warrants or court cases you have pending out there. I don't expect an answer. I think the practical solution is good.
I can tell you, I still got my person, one from my person, RB, two Derby, that there were two that put them together. Derby, my person, RB, Wichita that I'm getting sentenced on the 31st, and Butler, and Oklahoma, but Oklahoma next one. I'm trying to get everything taken care, and so I'm trying to take like it seems like I always have something, but it is a lot, but I've been trying to take care of everything, and that's why I don't have one from these other places. Like I'm trying to do what I'm supposed to do. I know it sounds like it's a lot, but that's the reason why I went to jail, but I have a problem. You know, I have drug problem admitted, and I was doing the most, and but now I'm trying to change all that and take care of everything so I can start a new life. Because I really don't want to don't really care. I wouldn't even be here on the video call right now. Or on my way to to you guys or anything. I'm trying to take care of everything. It's just hard because it is a lot, but I'm gonna get it taken care of. It's just hard, but I'm gonna do it.
Well, that's all very interesting. Mr. Violas Alvarez, do you know what a miracle is? Do you understand the word?
Yes.
It is a miracle that you're not locked up right now. With your failure to respond to courts in the way that you're ordered, and the way you've conducted yourself with all these cases and all these jurisdictions, it's a miracle that you're not locked up at this moment. And I'm not sure that you're a good risk to leave out into the community, but I'm going to follow your attorney's lead this time, and I'm going to leave you in the community pending sentencing, but you better keep that SASE appointment in September, because any further delays I am going to hold you accountable for. I'm not going to blame somebody else for scheduling problems. I'm going to blame you, because you need to take responsibility for your own case and your own requirements, and you need to make sure you keep your appointments on time, including the one I'm about ready to set for you in court. I'm looking at Tuesday, September 26th, Counsel. If you could please relate to me your availability or non-availability on that date. Tuesday, September 26th. I think that gives court services sufficient time to process the SASE results and finish the report. I'm going to look at an afternoon setting, just in case Mr. Violas Alvarez needs the travel time from some remote part of Kansas where he apparently is. So I'm going to be looking at an afternoon setting that day. Mr. Favre?
Judge, the later the better that day would for me, so 4 o'clock would be good.
That's fine by the state, Your Honor.
You're out of state? Okay.
No, that's fine. That's fine by the state.
Oh, fine by the state. Okay. Thank you. 4 o'clock p.m., Tuesday, September 26th. For sentencing in this case. Mr. Violas Alvarez, the court orders you as a condition of remaining in the community on your bond. You must keep your SASE appointment and successfully participate in that appointment to complete the substance abuse evaluation portion of the pre-sentence process. And it's my understanding that's September 5th at what time?
8 a.m., Your Honor.
8 a.m.
The case report.
Further, you must appear at the Sallyport location at the Butler County Judicial Center in El Dorado, Kansas, Mr. Violas Alvarez. No other locations, no other cars, no other Zoom. You appear at the Sallyport at the Judicial Center, September the 26th at 4 o'clock.
Okay.
That means you got to get an early start that day and make sure you're on time. I suggest that you come early. Tuesday, September 26th, 4 o'clock for sentencing in the case. Ms. Norris, anything else we need to address currently?
No, Your Honor. Thank you.
Mr. Favre, anything further?
No, Your Honor, thank you.
Does either the court services officer or the community corrections officer need any further direction from the court?
No, Your Honor.
Does the defendant have any questions?
No, thank you, sir.
All right, I will see you at the Sallyport, September 26th, 4 o'clock p.m.
Okay, sir.
If there's nothing further, the Violas Alvarez matter will be in recess, and this meeting may be ended for all at this time.